It sounds a bit like the annoying book title in the self-help domain, right? Think big. We all know those books where they tell you to really think big. Now, the question is, in how far is that maybe a valid business principle? Does it really make sense? Or is that really something weird? Well, there is something to it, but let's discuss. So I want to share with you a scenario that we had with a bigger organization. It was a big organization in the telecommunications segment. And they were so big, they had 2 different departments doing exactly the same thing. One doing the exact same thing for the north, one doing the exact same thing for the south. They were embedded in different leadership organizations, so they had no interconnectedness. So what we did is, we made sure that we work with both differently, as the management asked us to. Here is what we did. Both had a specific KPI of how many cases they handled. Now let's look at this chart. And this is the index value of 100% of the cases that both really made happen. So this is 100% performance for both. Now, for the one team, over time, we wanted to make sure that we increase the performance by 10%. So team number 1 had a plus 10% goal to make it here. Now, the management came along and said, well, let's do something specific. So they went in and said that 10% is nice, but let's extend the scale, and this team gets plus 100% as a goal. So they needed to perform 200%. So nearly doesn't fit here anymore, right? So you see a huge jump. Now, one department got the 10% goal, and guess what they said? 10%, that's so much. I don't think we can reach it. The other team with a plus 100% went like, 100%, that's way too much, that's over-exaggerated, we cannot reach that. This is the reaction from both teams when they get the challenge. Now, of course, the team up here with the plus 100% were a little bit more annoyed a little bit longer. But then we said, well, let's take it as a challenge, and the improvement will be what the improvement will be. But let's aim for 100%. If it's going to be only 50, it's going to be fine. And they went like, yeah, well, okay, that sounds right. The one with the 10% plus, they went in and they just complained. But nobody could say something like, well, if it's only 5%, it's okay. But the 10% were really needed. So how did it look like? So with both teams, we started an innovation process. Now, what were the ideas that the first team come up with? So the plus 10% team, what were their ideas? They had incremental ideas. They had one idea for this a bit, an idea for that, an idea for here a bit, an idea that would bring us here, an idea for 1% here, an idea for 2% there. So what they did is they went in incremental, in piece-by-piece steps. And they looked for many, many tiny interventions that would just leap it over the 110% so that they would just say, okay, that is good. For the whole planning, they actually took 3 months to finalize a plan on how to make sure that this all works. So 3 months planning. Now, in the same period, the other team knew we need to really be creative here, otherwise it wouldn't work. Otherwise, this won't be okay. We really need to make sure that we push it. So what they did is they went into full brainstorming mode. They actually look at general things. They looked at what is our general process? What is it actually doing here? So what purpose does it have that we do what we do? What is the thing that we're actually working on? And they came to a point that they said, well, there are a few process steps in our workflow that are actually causing a big part of the problem and making a big part of the effort. How about we can take a full new perspective? We make a different expectation management with our internal clients. I don't think we need A, B, C of the performance that we're doing. And the rest, C, D, E, F, G, I think we can automate. So what they did is they look at the reason for their work and they split into important and facultative, so possible but not necessary. And the important part, they really rethought it completely. They thought about how can we approach that thing differently. And they drafted a concept on how to automatize every step there. And they presented, after 3 months, their concept. Now, the incremental steps, the implementation process was planned to 6 months. So that would be the time, one change after one change after one change. And it would be something where the whole team would need to change all the time rapidly. Piece by piece, one change at a time over 6 months. Now the other thing looked different, because here we needed an IT project with only 3 people involved and an IT service provider. Well, we needed a budget, but then we need only 2 months for the implementation. And implementing meant just taking work off the employees, which they kind of liked. So the last 2 months were very easy. The time frame of the whole thing was kind of about the same. Now, what were the results? The incremental team, in the end, had a plus 11% performance. Well, the generalistic team that really looked at it from a baseline created not only 100% up front, but 173% upgrade in performance because of the automation. And that is something that shows you where you should think big. If you only think a small improvement, you only get ideas for small improvements. Only if you train yourself for thinking big and rethinking the whole thing, you can find the potentials for real big improvements.